Hello, Caterpillars, and today we are doing book club number 9, I believe this is. I feel like I have been back on the book reading. Like, I'm super excited to talk about books, discuss things with you guys, and get into another giant discussion about books for the next half an hour, because these seems to be like half an hour long videos of me talking about books. So grab a snack, get comfy, and let's dive into some romance novel books. Most of these are romance novels, actually. Yeah, most of these ones are. I can't remember if I talked about this one previously or not, but there are 3 books in this series. At the time, I don't know if I talked about just the first one or not, but there are 3 books. So the first one is the Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels. The second book is the League of Gentlemen, Women, Witches, and the third and final book in the series is The Secret Service of Tea and Treason. So I'll insert a picture of those ones now. I have read these with the audiobooks, and I think the audiobook version is probably better than reading just the regular version, because the lady that does the audiobook version has because it's set in the 1800s England, she's got sort of a British accent, and she does accents for all the other people, and it is so fun. So basically the book is about witches, pirates, and secret agents, just based on the different series, and they track the lives of these 3 women and gentlemen, or 8, I guess. Well, each book has not 8, 6. Track the lives of these 6 people throughout the books, and they each come popping in the books and stuff, and they're these very prim and proper ladies, but also they are a bit of a scoundrel too. And because in the first book, Cecilia Bathurst meets Ned Lightbourne, and they're both pirates, and Ned Lightbourne is a pirate that was hired to assassinate Cecilia Bathurst, and so he and her are flirting with each other, and she's always like, you can't possibly assassinate a woman out in the middle of the parking lot, out in the middle of the road. That is just not proper. And he's like, you're so right, that is not proper. I cannot do that. She's like, well, of course you can. And it's just the banter between the two of them is so fun. And her aunt, Mrs. Darlington, is always so worried about the great apparel and all these diseases that Cecilia can get, and so she wants Cecilia to basically never leave the house, never do anything for fear of any sort of illness and things. And then there's a whole rivalry too between the pirates and the witches as well. So in the second book, it goes around on the witch. So the second book is about Charlene Pettiford and then Alex O'Reilly as well, which you do meet his butler, who ends up being in the third book, and then the characters also travel through. And so in the second book, this jewel that's Charlotte wants gets stolen, and so they're trying to fight for this jewel, and then also someone else gets kidnapped too, and so they're whole fighting, and there's battle house witches, these flying houses that these women have, and there's a whole bunch of fight scenes too, which is kind of fun, and these women have all these things tucked in under their petticoats, and Charlotte at one point is falling, and she's like, oh, I wish I had a book to read right now while I'm falling down from this building. And again, too, you get to watch the lives of them fall in love, and then Daniel, his butler, and Mrs. Dearlove, or I think it's Dearlove. Anyways, Alice in the third book, those two get together too, and I love the chapters of this book too. I feel like I'm not really making any sense, but the chapters on them are just the most ridiculous thing ever. I think chapter 12 in book 3 is my favorite. It's just total random ridiculousness. Let me see if I can pull up the first chapter. They're just so outrageous. So the first chapter in the first book is called An Unexpected Caller, The Plight of the Semantics, The Level Moon, Not the Level Moon, The Caller Returns, A Discussion on Chlamydia, An Explosion, Luncheon Has Been Served. Like, I love it. And then, like, you have to listen to the audiobook because, oh my god, the lady does such a great job. Who are they read by? Let me see if I can find out who I listen to, because oh my god, she does amazing. I would play it for you, but I feel like I get copyrighted up and I don't really want that. It's narrated by Elizabeth Nollingen, and oh my god, so good. So good, I love it. Those books are fun, definitely a good lighthearted read, you know, nothing too serious, dangerous, or anything like that. It's a cute little romance blended in there with all of them, and then at the end you like see all three of them like becoming like best friends, which is funny too because a lot of the guys are best friends too, like Alex and Ned are best friends, and then his butler ends up being in the third book, and he's in the secret society, and him and Agent A and Agent B are like going on a quest together against the pirates, and they're trying to like find something that the pirates have, this dangerous thing that they're gonna kill the queen with, and then like she finally gets to meet Agent B, which is Daniel, and then super fun. So anyways, the next book, I didn't realize this was a series. So the first book is Part of Your World. I've already talked about that in a different book club video, so I can link that one down below. But this one is Brianna, Alexis's best friend, and she is also working at the hospital in Emerge, and this new doctor comes in, and his name is Jacob. And at first she is like, I'm going through a divorce, I hate this guy, he's the monster. She calls him Dr. Death, because on this poor man's first day at work, like 10 patients died. And so like she finds out that the other doctor is considering him for the chief position in the ER, and she doesn't want that because she's the one running, and she wants to get the position because no one else is running for it. And meanwhile, Jacob doesn't even want the position. He was chief emergency at his previous hospital, but came to this one because his ex-girlfriend is marrying his brother, and he does not want to be around the two of them because they both work at the hospital there, and he's just like so over seeing them, and he wanted a change. And then he moves and he meets Brianna, and he kind of positions Brianna to be his fake girlfriend for his brother's wedding, because everyone in the family isn't going to accept the wedding if they think that Jason isn't over his ex-girlfriend, who his brother is now engaged to, because they broke up less than a year ago. And so Brianna decides to engage in fake dating with him, and then Jason also anonymously, like when they start dating, doesn't know that like he finds out that he's a match for Brianna's dying brother, Benny, who needs a kidney transplant desperately. And Jacob's always wanted to donate an organ or a kidney, like especially a kidney, because his mother had kidney issues and needed a transplant, and that's how she's still alive today. So he kind of wanted to pay it forward. And so he found out that he was a match for Benny. He decided to donate his kidney to him anonymously at first, because he didn't want everyone to know about it, especially Brianna, because he didn't want Brianna to agree to dating him if she found out that he had donated a kidney. And kind of like their love of fake dating turns into real dating, and they actually care about each other, and just like the whole progression of all of that. And it was super cute book. I did like it because then Alexis and her husband kind of come back in the story a little bit too, which is kind of fun, because you meet Brianna in the first book, which is called Part of Your World, and in the second book it's all about Brianna, so that's kind of fun. And then the third book is the Happily Ever After playlist by the same author, Abby. I'm terrible at her last name. I think this is like there are books in this series, but I don't think this is like an episodic book. Like maybe there are some characters that show up in this book that you don't know about until you read the first one. But anyways, I read the second one because I didn't realize it was a series until after I finished the second book. So I may read the first one, I'm not sure. But it involves this girl named Sloane, who a year 2 years ago, lost her fiance in a motorcycle accident, and she was going to his gravestone to celebrate, like it was either his birthday or the day he died, but she was on her way to the cemetery to go visit him, to go visit Brendan, and this dog randomly runs out in the middle of the road and jumps in her sunroof. And then she gets pulled over by a cop for being like obstructing of justice, because she like pulled over because this dog was in the middle of the road and she didn't want to hit the dog, and then the dog Tucker jumped into her car, which Tucker is a Nova Scotia duck troller, and I love these dogs. I really want one. They are so cute. If you don't know what Nova Scotia duck troller is, look it up, because they are super cute. They do look like if a Australian Shepherd and a Golden Retriever had a baby. That's kind of what they look like. They are super cute dogs. Not super common. I haven't really seen too many like in person where I live anyways. Maybe they're more common elsewhere, but I hadn't really heard of this breed, but they are like super cute. Anyway, so Tucker jumps in her car, and then she's like trying to call the owner, and she has Tucker with her for like 2 weeks, and Tucker ends up getting a bladder infection, so she ends up taking care of Tucker because no one was letting him outside for a pee or anything, and like she was calling the owner and was like, that's it, at this point I'm keeping your dog because I haven't heard of you. And the dog's owner, Jason, is in Australia at the time for 2 weeks with no cell service, and like the person that's watching his dog doesn't even call him and tell him that like his dog went missing, and he was like, for emergencies you can contact these people and they will get a hold of me, but obviously Sloane didn't have that opportunity, because she was just calling the number on his tag every single day to let him know about Tucker. And then once he finally gets worse, he has service in Australia, he calls her and is like, oh my god, you have my dog, I'm gonna send someone to pick it up right now. And the person that was supposed to be watching him, which was like his fuck buddy, is like, I'm in New York, I can't take care of the dog, I'm not gonna be there, like blah blah blah. And so he like ends up Sloane ends up keeping Tucker until Jason gets back. And then Jason is a up and coming musician, and he goes as Jackson Waters, and he's supposed to be going on like a 4-month tour soon. And Tucker ends up being super attached to Sloane, and then Jason also kind of becomes attached to Sloane, but Sloane's struggling because she's trying to get out from underneath of like the death of Brandon, and her house still like is a shrine to Brandon, and like there's days where she can't like go and do things because of like Brandon's birthday, the day they met, Brandon's anniversary, like and so she's trying to have like let Jason in, but also is worried that when she lets Jason in, Brandon's just gonna become oblivious. And she has this blog called The Huntsman's Wife, and so she used to make like all these games like for like meals for like games, like if you're hunting stuff, like different things, like how you can cook them. And it so happens that like Jason and his whole family is like a huge fan of the Huntsman's blog, but she hasn't been doing it for the past 2 years, and they're like, oh my god, I've tasted your cooking, it's amazing, like we love it. And so it's kind of fun that they find out that that's what she is. And then Sloane is also an artist, and she does these really cool artwork pieces that take her like months on end, that look like a photograph, but they're actually artwork. And so she hasn't been doing that for the past 2 years. She's just been doing like freelance like space cat videos, kind of like memorial like space cat videos and stuff like that. And her best friend Kristen is like, you need to go with Jason, you need to do all this and this and this. And then they decide to go on tour together. Like she tries to kind of like uproot her life and stuff to like go be with Jason on the road, and then there's some drama with that, and she ends up coming home, and it's just like, it's fun. On the lines of another book that I've read that I talked about in a previous one, which I think was like The Soulmate Equation by Christina Lauren. In the first book, the character Fizzy is in the second book, which is called The True Love Experiment. So Fizzy ends up going on this dating show produced by Connor Prince, and she's supposed to like date all these different guys, like I think 10 guys or something, and she goes on like dates with them, and then they try to figure out with a DNA duo which is basically like your perfect match. Like there's a whole bunch of different like matches that they have for her. Like there's base level matches, there's diamond matches, there's a silver match in there. Like they've got all these group of guys, and she wants like these very specific, like she wanted a teddy bear or something, a vampire guy, the one that got away, so like a second chance kind of person, which is fun that they're on there. And so like it's this whole dating show that Fizzy's going through, which in the first book Fizzy is like the main character's best friend. So it's kind of fun that we see Fizzy, and then Connor is the producer, and then he finds all these guys and like has to watch her flirt with all these men as he's falling for Fizzy, and Fizzy is also falling for Connor and kind of wants to be with Connor, but then, you know, the show and everything, and then so she's like, and then with the TV show too, the contestants every week get to vote on who they pick for Fizzy and like who gets to stay around for the next dates and stuff like that. So and they get to see if they picked out Fizzy's perfect match and everything, and in the end, like her and Connor's feelings for each other, like they fall hard for each other, but then they're like, because she's on the show, she's not supposed to be dating anyone else, it's gonna break her contract. And so like they try to find a way to edit the show that her and Connor can have a chance together and stuff like that. So that's fun because there's all the ups and downs, and like Jess is pulled back in the story a little bit, but then it's interesting to see, like, you know, if she can tell if it's a base match, who she thinks the diamond, like she has to guess who she thinks is who at the end of every episode and stuff like that, if she thinks she's got like more of a base match with people. I can't remember all the criteria for the men, but like there are some very interesting ones. Like I know the vampire one definitely stuck out to me. I can't remember the rest of them, but so the next book, which is also by Christina Lauren, is In a Holidays. So this one is a Christmassy novel. So if you're looking in the mood around Christmas for a Christmas novel, it's this girl goes on this trip with her family. They do it every year at Christmas, and it's the four families come together, and the girl's parents, May's parents, have broken up, but they've each had new like spouses and stuff like that. But every year they come back and they have this family because they were all friends. These two couples were friends from college, and they bring their not two couples. They're friends from college, two couples, and then one Benny, who was like kind of like their uncle, but not really. So the parents, like couples, like all were friends in college, and then they kind of like interdated each other a little bit. So you find out later on in the book, but anyways, they come here every year, and the other family, Andrew and Theo's parents, are selling the cottage, and May is so devastated because this is her happy place. This is the only time of year that she's ever happy, and she also has the biggest crush on Andrew as well. And so she, on the plane ride home, is wishing that, or on the drive home on the plane, that she could redo that week over again and try to save the cottage. Because she was like, if everyone knew that they were getting rid of the cabin or the cottage, that like we would chip in and like help them, because they were saying all the repairs, they can't afford it anymore, and they're, you know, as much as the kids, they've loved having their kids grow up over the years at this Christmas thing, because she's in her 20s now, like 25 maybe, I think, or something. They just can't afford to keep, you know, and they're getting older, they're going to retire soon, they want to move out of state, and this is like going to be their last time that they're all together in this house, and May is completely devastated. So they get in a car accident on the way home, and then May finds herself, wakes up back on the plane to do the whole week over again, and that just like keeps happening to her. She keeps end up dying and like things falling on her until she like finally gets it right, and then like her and her feelings for Andrew, like she finds out that Andrew also has feelings for her, and then she also finds out that her younger brother Theo also has feelings for May too, and it's a whole hell of a lot. And then Benny, I love Benny. Benny's a great character in the book. Benny's like kind of the only one that like believes her that this is actually happening, and she like, to prove to him next time when she comes back that like this is true. She's like, tell me a secret that like no one else knows about you, and it's something about him being like a secret, like a strip dance, like a stripper in some place. I can't remember where it was. And so when she tells him, he's like, how do you know that? I tell him nobody knows that. Like, none of you kids know this story. Like, how would you possibly know? And yeah, it's fun like watching the two of them like fall in love, and May and Andrew falling in love and stuff. And like every time she's got to like reconvince him, not necessarily reconvince him that it's happening every time, but for a lot of the things she was like, the first night like replayed, and she was like, don't eat the cookie, careful, the dog's gonna break your sweater, so-and-so's gonna fall and hurt their shirt, and like this person's got a tattoo. And like the first week was kind of replayed over again, like, but she knew it was happening. And then the next couple of times it was different, and like she changed things, and she was trying to like save the magic of the cabin and like do things differently because they have all these traditions that they did. And then she's trying to like break the traditions and like prove to everyone that they're having like such a great time, and try to help save the cabin too along with it. So the final book for this book club is The Love Hypothesis by Allie Hazelwood. So this takes place with Olivia, who is a scientist who wants to get into Stanford, and so she ends up like meeting this, like she gets into Stanford, and then her best friend Anna is like, she went on a date with this one guy, but like found out that the other guy likes her best friend more, and so she's like trying to prove to her best friend that like, yeah, you can totally date him, I'm totally over this guy, I'm dating someone else. And she ends up like kissing this professor, not technically her professor or advisor, but like someone in her area of study, which is supposed to be like the most crotchety, not nice man, named Adam Carlson. And like she's probably like 24, 25, and Adam is in his like early 30s. And then like she convinces On that like they're actually dating, and then she has to convince Adam to be her fake girlfriend, which also works out good for Adam because he needs to pretend that he also has a girlfriend for his friends, and he's got some sort of event going on that he needs to bring a date for. And so like the two of them are like, yeah, we have to convince everyone that like we're fake dating, because he's trying to, his funding got frozen because they think he's moving to Harvard or something because one of his friends works there, and he got grant money at Harvard, and so the university has frozen his grant money, so he can't do any more research. So he thinks if he has a girlfriend that they'll think that he's more serious about staying here and putting down roots, and that they'll, do his grant money. So if that doesn't work by like September 29th or something, they're gonna call it off, because by then On will have realized that she can date this other guy, and that, she's definitely over him, and then the grant money should be released if it's going to work with the fake dating. So the two of them like go on like fake dates for like an hour every week at like Starbucks or something, or like this cafe down the street. And then like she ends up doing a proposal for the thing that she wants to study for, like her grant next year. Her advisor is retiring, so she's not going to get any more grant money, and she wants to do some sort of like cancer research. And this other guy's, Tom's lab would have the facilities for her to do this. And so like Adam and Tom were roommates in college and friends, so like she ends up getting a meeting with Tom, but like doesn't know this about Adam, and Adam doesn't know that, and like they end up meeting each other at the cafe. And then Olivia's there, and so then Tom is like super into her project and was like, oh yeah, like let's talk about it, and like we'll do our assessment now and our theory, like we'll talk about everything now. And then he tells her that he's going to hire her on for the assessment, and then she finds out the only reason that he's letting her on there is because she's best friends, like because she's dating Adam, and he's trying to keep Adam happy, so that Adam will come work with him next year, and they'll do like this grant and like kind of poach him over to Harvard and leave Stanford. and he's like, the only reason I'm hiring you is because you're Adam's girlfriend, and like all this like predatory stuff to him, and basically being like, if you can sleep with Adam, you can also sleep with me, and that's the only way you're gonna like get any sort of money and get further in this career. And if you don't agree to it, since you sent me all your information, you're kind of shit out of luck, and I can prove that I can just go in my lab and recreate all the information that you did and publish it before you, because who's gonna believe this nobody grad student when I am a like super qualified scientist guy that runs Harvard, like is the chair, like a high up at Harvard, like in one of their labs and stuff. I think it's Harvard. And so then like she ends up having this recorded by accident, and then her friends end up hearing about it, and so then they go after Tom. And after this point too, her and Adam, like, they aren't really dating, but they do, both of them fall for the other one too. Again, you know, of course, fake dating turns into real dating every time. Even though they joke about it, like, it's never gonna happen, like, you're never gonna have feelings for me, I'm never gonna have feelings for you, like, we're no kissing, no touching, nothing. And it's a good book. There are definitely more by her that I want to read. I do like the sciencey aspect of it too. That's kind of fun that they throw in all that a little bit too. But those are all the books for this book club. I've kind of read these over the past couple of months. So yeah, those are the ones that I wanted to discuss. I hope you guys enjoyed this book club. I'll see you guys later. Bye. Bye.